Okay, remember we had written a program to add two numbers, first num so 34, 43, exactly the same thing happened last time. So what we had to do was convert this into number. So int yes, but then the problem was this. So we had to take care of floating addition as well. So we changed it to float. So this would take care of not only numbers with decimals but also this. But the problem is that it would give you the result in decimals. Okay, but then there is another problem, and the problem is this: if by mistake the user types something like this, because now alphabet was there in the number. See, the objective of any code writing is to make sure that any error that happens is handled by our program rather than by a error message from the runtime environment. So how do we take care of this? We don't want the alphabets to be, if alphabets are added or typed by the user by mistake in a number field, we want to be able to handle it ourselves. Okay, so which means we have to take it, we have to actually read through the what has been typed. Now let's do one thing. Let's actually each one separately we will do it. So we will have a variable called digits. Let's say it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and a dot. So this is our string, okay? And then what we are going to do is we are going to go through, we are going to make sure that everything that is typed is present in the digits. Now how are we going to do that? For. Now that means we have to do it multiple times, right? For each digit. So which means we need to repeat a few steps multiple times. For that we require a looping construct or some way by which we can repeat. So for that we have a for loop. For I in number, no, not in number, I in first num. Yes, for I in first num, if digits dot find I is equal to -1, print invalid re-enter. Yes, valid number equal to false. That means we need to start with it being true. So valid number is equal to true. Since we are going to check for second number also, so let's make this as first is true, so first is false. That means first number is not proper. Okay. Now remember, this is inside a loop. So it will, what it is going to do is, for I, which is a counter kind of thing, which is going to go through the first num one by one. So if I have entered 23.43, so it will take 2, check whether it is there in digits. So 2 is there, 3 is there. So in case an alphabet is there, this will become true. Okay, now what is the next step? After we come out of this loop, if first num or first, we have to check whether decimal was there or not. If first num dot find a decimal greater than or equal to 0. That means, see, first num dot find will return the position, right? So if it is greater than or equal to 0, that means decimal is there. Now within that, if first num dot find is equal to 0, that means the first position itself is occupied by a decimal point. That means it is something like 0.23. We need to first num is equal to, so we add a 0 to it. Yes, else we say, no, not else, we say decimal equal to true, else decimal equal to false. Okay, so this was for the first number. Now the same thing has to be repeated for second number. So let's do one thing. Let's copy paste this entire thing. Now we don't need to do this again. So let's move this above, and from here we are going to substitute first num with second num. Replace. No, this is not required, so undo one step. Now what the next step? Do we need to make any other changes? This also should become second, and here before we do this, we check if first and second, that means both are true. And here also, see, when you copy paste code, you need to be very careful. Decimal 1, decimal 2. If first, okay, and second both are valid numbers, then we have to check if first num equal to, no, if decimal 1, that means it is true. If decimal 1 equal to true, then in that case it means we need to convert it into float. So first num is equal to float of first num, else, that means decimal 1 is false. So first num is equal to int of first num. Same steps for decimal 2. Second num is equal to float first num, else decimal 2, not decimal 2, else second num equal to float second num. Yes. But then you do you realize that if even one of these numbers is a float, then we have to do float addition, isn't it? So which means that if decimal 1, then in this case, right, if decimal 1 or decimal 2, this will also become or will be shifted here. So which means we don't need to check for separately decimal 2. So even if one of them is true, we convert both the numbers into float. Now let's see whether it's working or not. Invalid syntax, okay, colon. Since we copy pasted it, colon, run. Okay, here as well. Anywhere else? Yes. First number is, well, float object is not iterable. Where is that? For I in first num. Yes, here. Okay. I have converted it to float, so I need to leave it as a string so that I can go through it. Okay. Now let's run this again. 12, 32. Second is not defined. Second, first equal to false, second equal to false. This should be second. 12, 21, 33. Yes, but here both should be int. Isn't it? Why is the result should be in also int? So why is that happening? If one of them decimal 1 or decimal 2, here both. One more thing, this should be second number. 12, 21, 33. Answer is correct, but that should not come in float. It should not come in float. Here, see, this should also be int. Because of that, automatic conversion was happening. 12, 21. Yes. So the answer is also in int. Okay. Now let's give it some decimal. Yes. 46.64. How did it give 64? It should have given up to 5 decimal places, right? Remember, floating point arithmetic, sometimes approximations do happen because it does it in a very convoluted way. Maybe it does 1 by 5 after decimal points, 5 by 10 plus 6 by 100 plus 6 by 1000. So in the process, a lot of approximations happen or rounding happens. Okay. So this is perfect now. Now let's try whether alphabets it is capturing. Okay, I do something like this. Invalid re-enter, right? So what is it doing? It is just converting 23 also as a string and just putting them together. Now where is this message coming? Invalid re-enter. It is coming here. Invalid re-enter. But yeah, this re-enter, where is the option we are giving him to re-enter? We need to give that option. So that means this entire thing, first number from here to here should be, this entire thing should be inside a loop. Let's take this first above and let's say while first, while true. Let's give it as a endless loop, right? And in between we will break at some point. So while true, while this is a condition, so till it is true, all the steps will be repeated under that. So that means at some point we need to break out. Yes. So which means we need to break out here. No. When it is false, it should keep okay. We need to break out here. Okay, so here we are making it as true. Only if it goes inside this, it will become false. Though that means when it reaches here, it will, if it is true, that means the number is valid number. So if first, then break. Break, what will it do? It will come out of the loop. Which loop? The while loop, because it is under that. Let's try this, then we will see. So I'll just add alphabet, invalid, re-enter, enter the first number. So again I'll invalid, re-enter, enter the first number. Okay, now I'll just type 23. No, it is gone into an endless loop. It's not coming out. So how do I break out? Control C, right? So it is not coming out. That means it is not reaching here. Or first is remaining as, it's not changing back to true. So this first equal to true should be done before input. So now it should work. Okay, 23A, 32H. Yes, yes. Now it is going into second number. Yes. Again the problem. The second number we are not giving the option to enter again. So instead of doing that, let's put this while condition, while true, this whole thing will go to the next level. What other changes? If second equal to true, that means if second break, if second break. So now when we come out, it will just check if both are true. Now let's try out. Re-enter. Re-enter second number. 3467. Is that correct? 234 plus 3233. Yes. Now let's try out with decimal numbers. 23.3 or 32.3. Perfect. Let's try out one of them as decimal and the other as int. Perfect. Let's give 0.23. Remember, we have put a condition that if the first digit itself is point, then we should add a 0 before that. The sum is, there is something wrong here. It should be 32.53. Sum is 46, it is coming. How is it giving 0.46? So just to understand what is happening, and this is a very common practice, we will give print statements, right? We will say print plus, just watch the fun now, plus first and second, and I'll say dot format, and in this I will give the first num and second num. Okay, let's run this. Let's give the same numbers. 32.3. Name printf, not printf, print. Printf is in C. Okay. Now let's repeat 0.23, 32.3. 0.23 is first, 32.3 is second. So summing itself is creating a problem. Okay, let's do this after conversion. What is happening? 5.23, 32.3. See, second is also becoming 0.23. So this is first number. See here. So this is a problem with copy paste. So this should be second num. So 0.23, 32.3. Yes. Now why is that giving like this? Again, because of floating point representation. Okay. So now we need to test with all the possible combinations again. But is this proper? Just because it does the calculation like that doesn't mean we should also display it like that. So what we should do is we should convert it into the appropriate significant numbers. Yes. So let's remove this now that that has been taken care of. So let's figure out significant figures. First, let's say answer is equal to string of result. Yes, string of result dot replace decimal with a null. Right, that means we want to remove the decimal point. Answer we don't have, so answer is equal to first num plus second num. Now that we have a number which doesn't contain decimal points, so significant figures will be what? The length of the answer. Length of the answer after left stripping. L strip, here there should be a dot. Answer dot L strip. L strip what? Left side zeros. and let's print sig figs. And now what we'll do is we will round the first num plus second num by what? By maximum of sig1 comma sig2. Remember, we have to do it for both. No, sig fix is enough. No, max of sig1 sig2. So sig1 will be this, or let's say, no, let's say answer, instead of saying answer, sig fix, sig fig 1 is equal to not the result but the first num, significant figure of first num. Similarly, sig fig 2 is equal to, let's say, second number. No, this will also be first number itself, first number, right? Now this entire, these two steps have to be repeated for, this will also be 1 itself, this is going to be 2. Let's say, okay, this will be second num. Sig 1, sig fig 1. Now whichever is the maximum of that, these two, that many significant figures it will use. Okay, let's run this again. Now let's give it the same one, 0.23 plus 32.3. Okay, sig fig 1 equal to len of float object has no attributes, else step. Okay, so which means string, here I have converted it. So this entire thing has to go before this, because here I am converting it into float and int. So again, enter the first number, 0.23, 32.3. Sig fix is not defined. Where? Print sig fix, yes. Now remember, here I had just printed it out. So print sig fig 1 and print sig fig 2, 0.23, 32.3. Yes. So first one significant figures is 3. This is 4. No, this is 2. This is 3. Okay. So basically that means this is not okay. After replacing the decimal, we should use that itself, sig fig 1. So which means here also we should use sig fig 2, 0.23, 32.3. Yes. Remember, it was giving it to you as 32.5299994. Now it has rounded it to 32.53. Let's try once more. 0.23, 32.3333. So 2 and 6 digits. So 6. Yes. Okay, so that is adding to numbers with proper validations, making sure that whatever the user types, it doesn't break our program. Okay. In the next session, we will look at how to make it a much more streamlined code rather than all jumbled up kind of thing. It looks very complicated. So we'll see how to simplify it. So here we looked at what all things. We looked at while loop, for loop. Yes. What else did we look at? We looked at find function. We looked at Boolean variables, true or false. Then what else did we look at? We looked at significant figures, how to handle it. Okay. So please go through this. Try it. There's no better way than to actually type this in. And remember, in such kind of programs, you should do indenting. Otherwise it becomes very difficult to figure out which if is for which else, and it's very difficult later on. Okay, I think that's enough for today. Bye for now.